to talk about. I'm your host, Justin LaBar, being joined by Wrestling Inc.'s owner and proprietor, Raj Giri. Raj, good evening.
How's it going, man?
Lottie frickin' da. And Mr. Matt Morgan, the blueprint on Wednesday night. Matt, how you feeling? No selling.
Yeah.
Or is he frozen?
He's so happy he can't get that smile off his face.
I think he might have been frozen. Well, nonetheless, we'll get Matt back on here in a second. Yeah, fun Wednesday night. You got AEW, who's on the road to their next pay-per-view, Full Gear, which is a week from this Saturday. And then, of course, we had a special NXT geared around the Halloween Havoc gimmick. And NXT's kind of made a nice little habit recently being able to tap into the WWE warehouse of having Great American Bashes and In Your Houses and now Halloween Havocs tonight. So a little nostalgia, which is always a big win for the fans. Real quick in general, guys, any overall thoughts, anything that jumped out, one show that you enjoyed more? We'll talk about both, of course, but Matt?
I think I like AEW better, even with Halloween Havoc.
Raj?
I thought most of Halloween Havoc was I thought better. It felt more inspired, which it's rare for me to pick NXT over AEW, but it felt like they really were trying. I personally didn't like the Cameron Grimes, Dexter Loomis stuff. I know a lot of people did, but I thought the Candice main event was awesome, and I felt like AEW tonight they kind of seemed on cruise control.
Yeah, I'd agree. The last few weeks, I've definitely picked AEW, but I think overall, start to finish, NXT was more enjoyable. And, cruise control or just predictability and just not enough reason for me to keep you as my A show. That might have been my feeling with some of Dynamite tonight, which I think we'll start with Dynamite because that seems to be just the format we go. So, Raj, you got to take Dynamite. I'll take NXT here.
Yeah, sure. So, Dynamite started off. It opened up with Hangman Adam Page versus Wardlow in the title eliminator tournament match. MJF was not with Wardlow. This was a good 12, 14-minute match between Page and Wardlow. I thought they worked well together. Wardlow really impressed me in this. I thought he looked really good for someone who's not on wrestling on Dynamite every week. He looks like he's gonna be something there. But at the end, Page hit some elbows, super fallaway slam, buckshot lariat, and hit a second one to get the pin. 1, 2, 3. Adam Page advances in the tournament.
This was good and just protected Wardlow by him having to hit that second buckshot lariat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. It seemed pretty predictable, obviously, that Page is going to win when you look at the bracket. You see Omega to the side. So it's like, all right, how can we still protect Wardlow, like Matt just said, but let's also not make him be the duck-to-duck guy that just slips on the banana peel. He dominated Hangman just the way he dominated Jungle Boy, maybe even more so tonight. Even countered the Hangman's finish earlier in the match. Looked strong. It took two of the Hangman's finish to finally get him down. So yeah, there was a protection here, and there was a little. They keep planting the seed just before the match. They showed MJF and Wardlow backstage, and MJF said, "Oh well, if Wardlow wins the tournament, that makes me the number one contender because he works for me. So it is naturally the titles just transfer over to me. So again, planting that seed for just disrespecting his insurance policy. I thought a lot of good business was done here in this whole segment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, I think Wardlow's the star, but they're building to Page, and we'll get to his opponent later. Backstage, we had Jon Moxley. And, I've always thought that Moxley's a really good promo, but not necessarily a great promo, in the sense, he's a good talker, but he doesn't completely suck you in and get you excited. And I thought this segment was telling because you compare him and Eddie Kingston, and Eddie Kingston's the opposite. Eddie Kingston sucks you in. He gets you really buying it. But Jon Moxley reflected on his past year as champion, said that when he forces Kingston to say, "I quit," there'll be no one else to blame, and that he'll crush Kingston's ego. Eddie Kingston said he's sick of fighting, he wants to fight, and he said, "How dare the champ not show up for tonight's show," and called him a coward. Instead, he'll be facing Matt Sydal tonight. He reminded everyone that he wasn't eliminated from that match, and he said, "Hi, Lance," and the camera panned to Lance Archer, who was in the crowd. Matt, real quick to you, your thoughts on these promos?
Not fantastic. So when I picked AEW as a whole as my favorite shows because I do like the tournament they're having. I do like the character development that they usually have each show. Say what you want. There was character development here. But promo was so-so. Could have been better.
Justin?
Yeah, I mean, Moxley's stuff, I mean, sometimes they do really well. Other times it's too much of that pre-Fiend syndrome with Bray Wyatt, where it's too much riddle and rhyme. What does it all mean?
Yes.
And then Eddie Kingston, the nice little touch, the referees, or not referee, the camera persons in the ring, he even kind of off script yelled at the cameraman to get out of the ring. I don't care if the producer's telling you to get in the ring. You didn't train to be in my ring. A nice little badass thing there.
Great details.
Yeah.
Heel would say.
Yeah, you didn't train to be in my world. You don't be disrespecting my ring. And so I thought that was nice.
That was good.
I guess my gripe that comes down to it, it's what Matt and I have talked about before as we get into the match, is that then Kingston gets into this match with Seidel, and again, this guy could get away with wearing vintage jerseys and jean shorts because he looked like he's a dude that's fighting in the streets, but he's wearing this weird spandex with this weird loose yoga pants. I don't know.
Dude, it's like the Savio Vega look.
Yeah, dude, throw a football jersey on. It works for you, bro. Wear your head on backwards even, I'll even argue. You know what I mean? It works for you. Again, this is a guy who I don't expect when the bell rings to start doing lock-up, headlock takeovers. I expect him, like what he says, gouge your eyeball out and tell you the graphic details on what part of your eye he's going to start in on. And, that's what I believe in Eddie Kingston. Yeah. He's very real to me.
Yeah. And his talking got him here because, I mean, let's face it, this is his first win on Dynamite tonight, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, that's crazy.
And he's in a world title match in a couple of weeks. But yeah, his talking, you almost forget about it because he's been so good. But yeah, Eddie Kingston faced Matt Seidel. A pretty short match. Kingston used Moxley's Bulldog choke for the tap out. And then he didn't let go, did some role playing with Matt Seidel, saying, say I quit, Moxley, say I quit. And Seidel said he quit. So, and he attacked him after the match. So, yeah, good stuff. It was exactly what it should have been.
I'll be interested to see what they try to accomplish out of Full Gear because I have no expectation for Eddie Kingston to beat Moxley, but I want to see how much do they try to make Kingston? How is he sticking around, so to speak?
Where else is he going?
No. Meaning is he going to be somebody who's featured? Yeah, is he somebody who's going to be featured at least semi mid card, semi main, or what are they going to do to try to make him, so to speak?
I got you.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but this match kind of feels like fourth from the top. Behind the Bucks and FTR, and then it's just Page and Omega, and then now Jericho and MJF. So kind of a distant fourth.
But it feels it should be there though. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's why I don't like Mox as a world champion as well. Yeah.
Up next, we had Excalibur doing an interview with FTR, and in a separate room, the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks were getting most of the questions, so finally FTR were like, all right, fine, we'll leave. Matt and Nick, they brought up a stipulation for the match. They said if they don't win the title, they will never challenge for the titles ever again. So similar to the stip that Cody made last year.
But they're somehow going to win these tag titles then.
I think everyone thought that with Cody, and then he lost, and he stuck with it.
They can't make this mistake again.
Yeah,
maybe that's a head fake. Maybe that's a head fake. Everybody got duped by Cody, so they feel like, okay, this is a little extra way to add some juice to this match, and then they will win the tag titles. Because I can't imagine they put both the Bucks and Cody booking. Pigeon them in where Cody can never challenge for a world title again, and Bucks can. I mean, the Bucks are a tag team. It's not like they have another title to challenge for. At least Cody got to go to this new TNT title.
Maybe they create the TNT tag team titles.
Oh God.
Oh jeez. That's just what they need.
So up next, we had the Inner Circle go to the ring for their town hall with MJF. They had Luchasaurus asking, just sounding intellectual, asking a question. They had Britt Baker and Reba. Reba was smitten with Jericho. Probably the highlight was then they went to Eric Bischoff, who made a surprise cameo. And so Bischoff quoted a line from Kennedy and then asked, what if MJF turns on the Inner Circle and what can he do for him? And, they said, good question, yada, yada, yada. They went back and forth. Finally, Jericho said, it's you and me at Full Gear, and if you beat me, you're in the inner circle. So, yeah, Jericho and MJF.
Can I just say something though? What feels weird, that was all I was entertained by all that sans Luchasaurus.
Yeah.
That stuff is corny. They've got to stop doing it with him. But not Luchasaurus, but MJF. Again, they're booking him wrong. He doesn't give a crap about being in this group. He's MJF. He's the biggest star on this roster. He's got to be assuming that everybody wants him, like they want to be in his group.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like that I did this with again, the Main Event Mafia, because I was younger than all of them, right? That made sense. And I know he's younger than Jericho here, but he's not some like wide-eyed young wrestler. He is the best heel in that company. Okay, arguably with Jericho, right? But one of the best heels in the business. He's a main event star. He's too big time for him to be in the storyline, chasing them. Like, I want to be I want to be in.
But do you see it being like The Rock with the Nation, where he eventually gets in and then he ends up taking over?
And somebody wrote me that on Twitter, I think, as an idea. And my reply to him even was, The Rock was not where MJF is right now. Nowhere near it. MJF is polished. Right. We know who he is. We know his motivations. We know his character's layers already. We know them all. We could peel them one by one. Rock, we did not know those things yet.
And plus, Rock never begged to get in the Nation. But this could all be a swerve on MJF's part.
And I think there's one of two ways to go about it. Matt brings up a good point about, MJF's in a different spot than The Rock was in 97. And it's a case of, so you have one of two ways. Obviously Jericho said, there's one thing you've never done, Max. You never beat me. So that sets up the stipulation of this match. So one of two ways here. We've heard Sammy and Santana and Ortiz. They all spoke up real harsh about they do not want this guy. This guy is an outsider. You're not one of us. So right. It is either a huge swerve where MJF has got them in his pocket and they are going to ostracize Jericho and he's overtaking the inner circle.
No, Justin froze up.
Oh, that's guys, screen capture that.
Boing.
Everybody screen capture that. Oh.
You froze up there, Justin.
That would have been the best meme ever.
Oh, I missed it.
Justin, you've got to see how you got frozen just now, but
I'll have to go back and find it. Where did I leave off?
About the I forgot.
Nobody was listening.
We're so distracted by the meme.
Yes. You were talking about MJF not being where Rock was, but you're right though. It still could be a setup. If it turns out to be a setup where they immediately jump Jericho, they get MJF to win out of it, and Jericho's out of the band, right? Then that works because that's MJF pulling the strings from moment one of this entire angle. And that would be the only way it would make sense for him to say, okay, I want to be in the group. Yeah, Chris, Yeah,
I think it's either that or if he beats Chris and now he gets to be brought into the inner circle and he all of a sudden says, no, I don't want to be in your stupid, lame inner circle. I'm so much better than you guys. And now you fueled it up that way where he doesn't even, it's almost like this whole, I don't know. It's like this whole thing was kind of like a way to poke the bear and mock them about how much greater he is. But either way.
Or to get Jericho into a match. This is my only way to draw you out into a match and show I'm better than you because you knew I was better than you. This is the only way to get you in a match.
Sure.
And maybe he adds some people to his crew, MJF. I mean, we've talked about that in the past,
Who would he add?
We'll see.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
We got a super chat here from FH. He says, hey, from London, thanks for doing these reviews straight after the shows. Question for Matt, big fan. What AEW feud are you most or least interested in right now?
What we just said earlier, maybe on the mic, I do like Moxley and what's his name? Kingston. In the ring, I don't care about it whatsoever. Once that bell rings, my attention ain't on it no more. So maybe that's my least out of the big matches. But favorite, it should be Bucks, but because we don't have definitive heels and faces in this, it's freaking weird. It's not. So I'm gonna have to go with MJF Jericho.
And it's weird that the Bucks were definitive faces until they're like getting put into a feud with FTR.
I don't get it.
And then, I mean, Adam Page and Omega, I thought was a can't miss this whole year, and
that would be a great match.
It will be great, but I just feel like it's missing something right now, and maybe they'll take it somewhere else once Full Gear happens. But
it's tough because one of those two have to, like, they both need this in a weird way. I feel.
Yeah.
Because they've blundered a little bit, Cowboy as well, not just Kenny.
Yeah.
Kenny's good though. Sorry.
Yeah. So we had that MJF segment. I personally thought, as far as their comedy segments go, their in-ring segments, I thought this was one of the weaker ones, and I'm a big fan of theirs. I like the steak dinner. I know a lot of people didn't, but
no, you're right. It was.
Yeah, I just felt like a lot of the comedy didn't click as well as it usually does.
It started with Luchasaurus, man. Didn't get prettier.
That set it off on the wrong foot.
By the way, thank you, Jackson Callens, for immediately messaging me the me frozen and what it's going to look like. So thank you very much.
What does it look like you're doing, Justin?
Eating a popsicle there, Matt.
All right. Up we had Cody versus Orange Cassidy in a lumberjack match for the AEW TNT title. This was they had another kind of long match. And
just call it lame. It was lame. Let's call it lame.
I mean, if you're just looking at in-ring action, I thought it was fine, but that's not what makes Orange Cassidy to me. And anyway, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name. Silver from the Dark Order just randomly ran in during the match, attacked Cassidy, and then Cody turned around, saw him, threw him out of the ring. Cody grabbed Cassidy, hit him with the crossroads, covered him 1, 2, 3. Cody gets the win by pinfall. And after the match, you see Darby Allin looking on from the rafters. He's watching. And then the Gun Club randomly comes in and starts clearing everyone out of the ring. And Cody's watching from the ramp. So, yeah. So I'm guessing this is leading to something on Dark. Maybe the Gun Club versus the Dark Order.
Not excited.
We're starting to overexpose Orange Cassidy a little bit too much without anything progressing. He hasn't won a title. He's not moving his way up. We've seen if he was going to beat Cody, he would have done it already. Lumberjack match. I'm in the Survivor Series season where I'm going to bitch about it every week, how it's an outdated concept that was good 30 years ago, but 5-on-5 is not a big deal when you see all these guys on TV every week. Same thing with Lumberjack match. There was a Lumberjack match between like Shawn Michaels and Hacksaw Jim Duggan on Raw in the Manhattan Center in 1993. It was a big deal because you never saw all these guys together on TV at one time unless it's pay-per-view. Right. Lumberjack match in 2020, all that is easy fodder for everybody. Let's get on the top rope and let's do a whole bunch of spots where everybody's going to catch us. It is just pointless. And it didn't even make sense in this. It's not like Cody's been running from Orange Cassidy or Orange Cassidy's been running from Cody. It's not like you need a ring surrounded full of people to stop them from leaving. This was just pointless.
Yeah, it was just a random gimmick for no reason. There was nothing that set that up last week. Mr. X saying AEW is surprisingly predictable tonight, and I agree. I thought every match there was no question who was winning. Justin Lopez with the $5 super chat saying Bucks are doing the same stip Cody did last year at Full Gear without the emotional investment. That is a good point. It was just kind of randomly thrown out there for no reason, really.
Again, yeah.
So backstage we had the best friends bumping into Miro and Kip Sabian. I hate what they're doing with Miro. Miro says they have a gift for the guys, no hard feelings. Penelope Ford showed up, said trick or treat, and then Miro and Sabian beat them up. Miro threw Trent into a wall and said, "I will never forgive you, never." And the gift was just the controller for the arcade that was previously destroyed.
What the flying bleep? What the heck? Come on. Miro, you're not in WWE anymore. You have a voice. You could tell them, no, I'm not doing this.
Miro did an interview with Inside the Ropes, and he made it sound like a lot of this is his idea.
Like he's loving this. Like he in real life is loving this for some reason.
I'm a
Twitch.
I'm a big fan. I mean, I was a fan of him as Rusev, and I'm just a general fan of him.
Yes.
But like when you come out and you kind of, you do a nice little shake of the wrestling world with that blunt promo of your brass ring and shove it up your ass and all the stuff that he said, and then your immediate creative, which if you're kind of taking credit for it, is to be fighting over this.
Arcade game.
It makes it, you know what it looks like, Miro? It makes it look like maybe you should have had the brass ring to be going after in their creative, because if this is your creative and this is your being able to just fly free, it don't make you look too good.
And maybe you're saying maybe he did need that structure. Because again, wrestlers sometimes don't know their own strengths and don't know their weaknesses, where WWE say what you want. The old Paul Heyman philosophy, Jim Cornette philosophy, play your strengths, hide your weaknesses.
Now, don't get me wrong. And if Miro's telling the truth, and I have no doubt that he is, that when he said in an interview somewhere in the last couple of months, how
he's not booking his own angle, bro. No,
well,
I don't buy that.
Aside from that, but he said a few months somewhere in an interview or on Twitch how like when the Rusev chants the Rusev day was getting over, how Vince was like, "Oh, they're mocking you," ha ha, and then he was like, "Well, my shirt's been selling out. Oh, they must have not made enough shirts." Like, yes, those things I see are frustrating to you, and that they are out of touch, not realizing that you're getting over. But still, my point is like when you try to cut this promo, like the establishments have been holding you down, and this is the first thing creatively you have to offer on the alternative. That's not a good look.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. You forget he's there until he shows up. So, I hope they change. I hope they change gears.
He's being a good team player. I do not think he came up with this storyline. No way. I think his promos, he's had his own bullet points to it. He has a little more freedom that way. What he's doing in the ring, especially as well. There's no way in God's green earth like he's sitting there at with the boards on TV and the time blocks, right? And at this part, I'm gonna slam your head into the arcade game. Like, no.
All right. Up next, we had Serena Deeb versus Layla Hirsch. They showed a promo backstage with Deeb, who talked about how she beat Thunder Rosa last night to win the NWA Women's World Championship. Now, apparently, AEW and WWE have interest in Rosa, so we will see where she ends up. But Serena Deeb looked really good here. I mean, it was a short match. Serena Deeb winning by submission, but it looked good.
How'd she win the title last night?
Some indie show, or they do that weekly pay-per-view on Fight, the UWN Primetime Live.
Was it an NWA show?
Yeah, it's like an NWA deal. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey, good for Deeb. I like that.
It feels like the NWA Women's World Title is more important on AEW television than the AEW Women's title is.
I'll say it flat out. The champion is better than AEW.
To Justin's point, we go to a backstage segment, and Hikaru Shida's backstage, and basically is told that, oh, Nyla Rose wants you at, and then Hikaru Shida says, sure, we'll wrestle at Full Gear. So that was the build for this women's match. So Justin, to your point, it was like nothing.
Yeah, I don't know if Billy Corgan obviously is who owns NWA. Who knows what's going to happen with them? They've obviously they were victims of the pandemic, and then obviously they had some controversy through early this year. So I don't know if this is like a setup of like trying to get part of this NWA property here, or if they're going to do commingling in the long term in the future with AEW. But yeah, it feels like there's more investment and more interest in the NWA Women's Champion than there is in this AEW. I don't know. I hate to crap on Shida, but I just don't. Not feeling it. Haven't felt it.
Yeah.
Matt?
What do you want me to say to that?
It was all said.
The upcoming, the pay-per-view match or the fact that...
Just how it was built up in that backstage segment.
It was lame, super fast. No emotional investment. But I do hope she loses the title.
Up next, we had Shawn Spears wrestle a squash match. Now, this was a filler match. It was originally supposed to be Abaddon. This whole show was taped last Thursday. Right. Abaddon got seriously injured, so they filmed this to kind of take its place. Quick match, Shawn Spears hitting the C4 pin, and that was it. After the match, there was someone in a costume at ringside throwing stuff at him. So Shawn went out, attacked him, threw him in the ring, and lo and behold, it's Scorpio Sky, and Sky hit a TKO on Spears to end that segment. Matt, anything?
I loved it because I love me some Sean Spears. I do, and I like him getting an easy win and being built a little bit, even if it wasn't meant to be built.
Yeah, Justin.
Yeah, this is where I looked at again the graphics. Dark comes into play. Sean Spears got like a 14-2 record, but I barely seen him wrestle on Dynamite. Right. So this is, I mean, yeah, but I mean, he's got great look, great skills. So hopefully they get some momentum under his legs.
Yeah. Yeah, they really haven't done much with him since he lost to Cody. I know he's been feuding with Scorpio Sky on Dark, but as far as on Dynamite, his appearances have been very brief.
And by the way, that's a very good feud. Dude, it's really good.
The pairing with Tully, I'm still not quite like Tully makes total sense with FTR. It makes total sense because they look like they would have teamed with Tully if they were around in his era. But like Tully with Spears, I still don't get.
Yeah. Next was the main event. Penta L0 with Rey Fenix. Rey Fenix was injured last week during his match with Penta against Kenny Omega, title eliminator tournament match. Good match. It was pretty much what you would expect from these two. Lots of good back and forth, crazy package pile drivers. Finally at the end, Penta went for a springboard slide blade and ate a knee, and he got the one-winged angel to get pinned 1, 2, 3. Kenny Omega goes on to face Hangman Page at Full Gear.
This was an awesome match, I thought. I love this match.
Yeah, it's good, and you need these two names against each other on American television to be what the drawing is, because if you've paid attention even the slightest bit, you know the result. So it's not like that's what you're hanging on to see is who wins. You know who's going to win, so you just have to hope that they just deliver on their name, value, and styles. And it was entertaining. Again, Kenny Omega said it last week. I'll say it again. I like this edge to him. I like this switchback. It's better than what the Kenny Omega had been seen. Side by side, it was not better than what NXT was doing. And granted, NXT had an overrun, which we'll get to. So it was good, but this kind of ties into what I said at the start of this podcast. I think NXT start to finish did a better show in terms of need to see things.
Yeah, and I thought this was good too. It's just kind of I guess I'm getting kind of used to Kenny Omega matches. Like I kind of know what's coming. You kind of know they're going to kick out at 2, and you know that he's going to win with the one-winged angel, and you're just kind of waiting until that happens and see them trade moves. But it's still entertaining, and the right guy won. So there we go. That was AEW Dynamite. Again, I thought each match was predictable, but it was still an easy to watch show.
Yeah, easy to watch. Not tough, for sure. For sure. All right, so on the flip side, over on USA Network, we have NXT Halloween Havoc. So a little special event tonight here for NXT coming from the Capitol Wrestling Center at the Performance Center. Shotzi Blackheart is our host, and it's a pretty cool stage, a whole setup. They had some Halloween shenanigans and burial shenanigans. They got the ropes orange. Looks pretty cool. And first match is the one of 2 matches that are going to be a spin the wheel, make the deal, and it's going to be between Johnny Gargano up against NXT North American Champion Damian Priest, and the wheel gives us a Devil's Playground match, which is basically a falls kind of anywhere, anything goes match. And that match, and that's what it was. This thing went all around the Capitol Wrestling Center and went backstage, went through the different props. Really fun match, a couple segments, weapons, everything you can imagine. Ultimately, they end up finishing this match. They're up on like a staging area where the wheel is, where all the graveyard props are. And Priest looks like he's getting ready to hit a finisher on Gargano. And then out of nowhere, the masked killer, like from the Scream movies, it's the exact same mask and garb. Somebody in that garb shows up and attacks Priest. Gargano first kind of looks stunned, like he doesn't know what's going on. Then he's smiling like he does know what's going on. Ends up taking a tombstone, smashes it over Priest. Priest falls however many feet. Gargano gets the 1, 2, 3. So Johnny Gargano is your new NXT North American Champion. The Masked Man is never revealed, so stay tuned later. But I thought a really fun opening match here. Matt, spin the wheel, make a deal.
It was. I didn't like Gargano become a champion, though. Nothing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That kind of bugged me was Gargano regaining the title already. I thought Damian Priest, he seemed like he was due for a long run, unless, anytime I see someone like Damian Priest, who you could tell is someone that Vince would like, taking a loss here. Yeah, exactly. It seems like he might be getting called up.
Or, I mean, there's been, I mean, the world title in NXT has been riddled with injury with Cross and then Finn, unless they have a plan to bump Priest up in that picture.
Okay,
You know.
I'll take that.
Yeah, that could be too.
So stay tuned with the Gargano family and mystery people. Then we finally see for the first time.
Real quick, who do you think is the mystery guy?
I don't know. I mean, I guess we can make that prediction once we get to the end of the show, because since we're not done with it. Hint, hint. We get the first time of seeing Vic Joseph and Wade Barrett on camera. They of course challenge each other to have a costume contest, and they go to them at the booth, and Vic is dressed as Where's Waldo, looking ridiculous. Bad news, or Barrett is dressed just like he normally is, and Vic's mad. Like, I thought you were going to dress up, and then Barrett pulls out a gavel. He goes, "I'm my favorite superstar. I'm Bad News Barrett." So kind of hanging Vic out to dry there on the costume.
Man, Vic looked like a dead ringer of Waldo.
Yeah. After that, we get we see Pat McAfee and Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. They're going to be coming to the ring soon. We also get backstage of Cameron Grimes. He's all worried for his match later, and he's got William Regal bugging William Regal. So again, plugging what we have coming up here. So we get an in-ring promo. McAfee out there with the new tag champions, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. McAfee does a really lengthy promo, even so much where I think he was starting to go over and they were queuing him off. But it was a promo that needed to be cut. It was basically him explaining everything, which is obviously his loss to Adam Cole. Adam Cole didn't even show him respect for how good Pat did in the ring. Pat realized he needed to get revenge, so he hired Ridge Holland, who wanted a car. He got Ridge to do the dirty work because Pat had no time to go to do the dirty work, and Pat proceeds to plug all of the things he has going on, his new show on Sirius XM, et cetera, et cetera. He doesn't have busy. Do my dirty work. Holland does the dirty work. Holland gets injured, so then he also gets Lorcan and Burch on the payroll. So explaining just everything that there is here. We get all of a sudden Kyle O'Reilly coming out. It looks like Kyle O'Reilly is going to be outnumbered. Then here comes Pete Dunne to join. We have not seen Pete Dunne on NXT on Wednesday night since March, since the start of the pandemic. Both have steel chairs. They get in the ring. McAfee and crew get out, and all of a sudden Dunne, boom, backstabs O'Reilly, hits him with the chair. Looks like Pete Dunne is on the Pat McAfee payroll.
Okay, this was good. I like this.
Raj?
Pete Dunne looked good. I mean, he looks
jacked.
Yes, he did. Until you see him next to somebody a little bit taller. But yes, he did. I like Pete Dunne a lot.
I mean, considering he'd always been kind of, a little pudgy, I guess. But
oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I mean, he got in shape during his time off.
Yeah, so again, I think it's usually Survivor Series weekend, right, Raj? That NXT does like a War Games. That seems to be what we're building to here, is a Pat McAfee team and probably an Adam Cole team, right?
Yeah, and I think Pat McAfee, you look at him in that ring, the way he talks. I mean, he completely overshadows the other guys, but he's someone like the main roster could really use. It's just someone, first. But then I'd be worried that they'd screw him on the main roster with those scripted promos, but. I just feel like there's more of an upside of him on the main roster.
Justin Lopez.
Go ahead, Justin Lopez.
Sorry, Justin Lopez, $5. This has to be set up a War Games match for the December takeover. I gather with Dunn taking Holland's spot in the group. Yeah, I would agree with that. Rich Holland, who's out for a little bit of time. And we got $4.99 for Joshua Taylor. Looks like they're setting up an 8-man between Undisputed Era and McAfee's team.
Yeah.
I was going to say, McAfee's a celebrity. They wouldn't overly script him on Raw. I don't think.
Did you hear that about that time he got yelled at by Michael Cole for wearing suit shorts at WrestleMania?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
He was wearing last year's WrestleMania. He showed up and he had a suit but with shorts like LeBron wore. They're like suit shorts, like dressy shorts. And I guess Michael Cole started yelling at him. Pat McAfee got pissed, went and talked to Vince, and Vince sided with them, saying, all right, I guess they're cool, but...
He's a celebrity. Shut up, Cole.
Krana Shaw, $5. Glad Pete Dunne is back on NXT and back as a heel. Plus, Pete never forgot Roddy betraying him and joining the Undisputed Era. Right.
Oh.
Good connection.
Tying some loose ends together.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so a lot of business that had there, so check that out if you missed any of it. Up next, NXT Cruiserweight Champion Santos Escobar up against Jake Atlas. This is what you'd expect it to be. Escobar, of course, has Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde out there. They cause a little bit of trouble, ultimately helping Escobar hit the Phantom Driver for the 1, 2, 3. So this trio continues to ride high.
They do. I thanks to the fans that sent me the clip of Atlas doing his DDT off his cartwheel DDT on the top rope. Holy crap! That dude is super talented. I like Jake Atlas. I know he lost here, but I like him a lot.
Does Escobar being with Mendoza and
Bring him down?
Yeah, bring him down.
Yes, it does.
That's what I feel like. I feel like he'd be better off without them. Like
He
by
would
himself.
be better off. He would.
Nah, I look at it as always good to have henchmen. Always looks like you have control.
Yeah, but it kind of, I'm just going to be honest. It feels like a bootleg Lucha house party a little bit.
I feel like he's not a big enough star yet to where he completely outshines him, so it kind of brings him down as opposed to... It's not like Edge when he had Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder where he was so far and beyond.
Yeah. Yeah, where he was... Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
All right, so keeping it going, we get a video package of Ember Moon cutting a promo on Dakota Kai, so that's coming. We also get more Shotzi Blackheart just hyping up Halloween Havoc, because up next is the Haunted House of Terror match between Cameron Grimes and Dexter Loomis. So this is they segued into this by having, again, more of Grimes backstage freaking out. He's outside. He sees this weird white van and this guy in the passenger seat, and all of a sudden the door slides open and out comes the Freebird, Michael P.S. Hayes, doing some Freebird cosplay and Halloween stuff, a little bit of fun, and then ultimately Grimes gets in that van, and that's going to be the van that takes him to this House of Terror match. And so it's the first part of this done cinematic style, compared to Bray Wyatt's stuff with Randy Orton, compared to Boneyard match. It's definitely more of a skit than a match. It's a lot of Grimes trying to stay in his character, trying to be like, oh, I'm Cameron Grimes, I'm not scared. He's going through, he's getting spooked by all these little things. Dexter Loomis constantly lurking in the background. Eventually enters this creepy house. He and Loomis fighting. It's mostly Loomis just having the upper hand, just choking him out of nowhere. A key point, Grimes in a bathroom. He sees what he thinks is a silhouette of a sexy woman in a shower. He goes to approach the woman. It turns out she's a zombie. There's a lot of zombies in the house. Ultimately, Grimes, after some fighting back and forth, escapes the house and goes running, and we get the graphic to be continued. So this is not done for the night. So, I think this might have been better than what we would have got if it was all a straight live match. I give them props for trying to do something and trying to do what they've largely done well, which is cinematic stuff.
Let's talk about it once we get back to the to be continued.
Okay. Well, that'll come in just a little bit, so we'll package it all together. We get Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Gonzalez. Of course, the tail of the tape of this: Rhea Ripley 5'10", Raquel Gonzalez 6 foot, and these two women go at it. These two statuesque, I believe, as Barrett called it, which is the right description. Hard hitting, go at it. Battle of bigger stature and strength in women here. Good to watch. Ultimately, in the end, Ripley ends up hitting her Riptide in the middle of the ring, and she gets the victory. But no harm done to Raquel Gonzalez here. This was just a slam banger, as Nick Hausman would say.
The right person won, but I'll also say Gonzalez, she's got potential. She has some big potential because she wrestles, like we've said, she wrestles like a, normally you'd say big guy, but nowadays you'd say big man, right? Like a giant. She does though, but she wrestles like a bigger athlete. Do you know what I mean? And she makes it a bigger deal to come off her feet. Her offense is brutal in a good way. It's believable. I like her. I like Gonzalez a lot.
Yeah, I was really impressed with her. I mean, good win for Rhea, but that stood out to me more was just how much she's improved and just how good she looked in this match. And yeah, Matt, to your point, working as a working big, like just not working, trying to do what everyone else does, not trying to do flips and dives and everything, but making it look like a big deal when you take her off her feet. I thought she was awesome. I can see her being a big star.
Yeah. Raquel's come a long way, relatively speaking, to the lack of TV time she's had. So good showing here. In the $5 super chat from Alejandro. Escobar can be a main star by himself in Mexico. He was a major star. What I see as a problem with him is probably the language barrier. Okay. I don't know what his...
really quick, I didn't necessarily agree with him taking his mask off originally. I didn't like that at first.
All right.
$2 from Connor Shaw. Raquel has improved so much. Both great chemistry. Yes, I agree. All right, so after that matchup, once we come back, or we get a tease at least, if we see we see a shirtless Cameron Grimes running down a street yelling, and so they tease that maybe he's coming back to the Capitol Wrestling Center.
Oh my god.
Back for Rake.
I got to answer this real quick.
Okay.
Razor Jim 555 to 666 saying Rhea needs to go to the main. I don't know. We saw what happened when she was kind of on the main for earlier this year, working with Charlotte, and then she cooled off quick there. So I say keep her on NXT for a while.
I also like this. Glenn in the chat, is that referring to the love for the women? Is that the somebody saying Glenn's doing some part-time work in the chat tonight? All right, so we come back. I do want to know the quick fun backstage. They show Drake Maverick, who's dressed up as Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and he cuts the Hulkster promo, and then here comes two guys. One's dressed like the Giant, what Big Show was in WCW. The other is the Mummy, and they start to do the weird thing that they did at Halloween Havoc, where they both dry hump Hogan. Yeah. And then Killian Dane comes through the curtain dressed as a Shockmaster, but he doesn't trip, which pisses Drake off. And then Drake grabs the helmet and he trips. So just a fun little WCW spoof.
I popped for this. This was funny.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a younger fan, and don't pick this up. I mean, go back and watch some old WCW, specifically '95 Halloween Havoc. But this is a nice little nod to the.
Was it '94 or '95 with the zombie the Mummy that came out and attacked Hogan and him and Big Show?
I thought the Mummy came out the same night they had the monster trucks, which I thought was 95.
Yeah.
Okay, you were probably right. Yeah, 95.
So a nice little nod to the WCW ridiculousness it was. All right, so now we get the conclusion of this match. Cameron Grimes is coming back in the Capitol Wrestling Center. There's zombies again. There's the whole set inside of the arena. They really kind of lit the arena and made it to be something creepy. Dexter Loomis comes up behind him, so we get a little bit of a fight, but it's mostly, again, this is mostly zombies all around. Loomis hitting his big stuff, and Grimes just lays there dead with the scene of the zombies all around him, smoke all around him. Loomis, great camera shot with the eyes, and then they put on the text the end. So a little mini movie. Matt, do you appreciate the effort here, or is this too hokey for you?
Yeah, no, it's hokey, but I appreciate the effort still, though. Grimes is annoying. Was very annoying to me, though.
See, that's what you know what? I'm gonna have to rewatch this because I'm watching this at the same time with AEW because I thought Grimes was just irritating as hell, but then all these people are saying he was pretty hilarious. So
zombies are coming after. Like it was just I don't know.
Well, I think Cameron Grimes has no business being like Randy Orton when he's in Bray Wyatt's house years ago, or AJ Styles having the cojones at the graveyard. So Grimes has to be kind of like, oh yeah, I'm Cameron Grimes, baby, I'm tough, but then he's immediately scared by a tricycle that went by him.
Okay, like, a couple times, great. It was the entire. That's all I remember about this. Was that multiple times? I'm like.
So
I like it. I don't want crap on it because I did like it.
See, I hated it when I watched it, but I think I got to go back and watch it by itself because it just came across as just so like there's a cheesy level to where it's fun to watch and it's kind of funny, and then there's
like the one we just talked about last segment. Last segment was cheesy, but it was hilarious.
Wait, which one?
With Spud.
With Drake.
Yeah, that was.
But that wasn't that wasn't 15 minutes long.
That's what it is. Exactly. I was gonna say the trick was Drake and them turned 90 seconds into a fun little nostalgia pop. This thing ultimately went 10, 12 minutes, so it's like maybe it was just too long. Hence, to Matt's point, Grimes had to keep repeating the same things, which just got redundant and annoying.
Yeah. But I mean, a lot of the stuff looked cool, but I just thought it went way too long. But again, I'm going to have to watch it again.
The visual,
my first time watching it, I didn't like it.
The final visual when Loomis is looking at the camera and the end comes and what you see behind him with the creepy girl, those are zombies and the smoke, and they're all surrounded a knocked out Grimes. That's a badass visual. That makes that up Dexter Loomis to me. So the visual, yes. Another super chat real quick here as we go to the main event. Justin Lopez, $5. There goes my next Heath Slater. Vince watching Cameron Grimes tonight. Sure, Heath appreciates that. All right, we get
Grimes,
it. Tomas.
I mean, Grimes can be pretty funny though. He is. I mean, so and granted, so is Heath Slater. But
stop selling for the chat room, Raj. Don't let him intimidate you or bully you into changing your opinion.
No, I'm not changing my opinion. I thought he sucked tonight, but he's usually pretty funny.
Eat it, chat room.
All right, so we get a Tommaso Ciampa pre-tape backstage. He's cutting a promo, basically talking about his problems with Velveteen Dream. He says the 25-year-old prodigy has the it factor, but can't seem to get it out of his own damn way. Ciampa says, as the old saying goes, hit me with a cast once, shame on me. Hit me with a cast twice, you're a dead man. So next week, Ciampa versus Velveteen Dream and Dakota Kai versus Ember Moon. Into the finale we go, the main event here, the second match that's going to be decided with the wheel. It is the NXT Women's Championship, defended by Io Shirai up against challenger Candice LeRae. Shotzi does the spin of the wheel. It is a tables, ladders, and scares match. This I did think was the best match of the night. They gave us plenty of time. NXT had an 8-minute overrun, which I think, quite honestly, do it every week. If you can get USA to do it, give yourself 8 minutes where the audience is just watching you and not watching the competition. This was... again, big spots with tables, ladders. There was amputee, dummied arms, and blood. This was just good all the way around. But let's get to the meat of it and the end here. Is Candice looks like she is just knocked out. She has gone through, her and Io have gone through 2 tables. All of a sudden, that same Scream masked person arrives, picks LeRae up on his shoulders, shimmies her up to the top of the ladder. That's where you have to retrieve the title. And that does not work because then that person ends up getting knocked off the ladder by, I think, by Shotzi. Yeah, Shotzi comes in and takes that person out. So now Candice is up top, couldn't get the title. Io comes up. Io sends LeRae flying into a ladder. Looks like it's always a brutal looking spot. Io grabs the title. Io Shirai is your champion, and we have to cliffhang for who this masked person is and why they are helping the Gargano family.
I don't. To Raj's original point, first of all, this is a great match. I like this match a lot for obvious reasons. It was very well executed. But who is this person? I don't have any guesses. Do you?
I don't. I mean, just look. I mean, if the person that is going to be revealed actually was playing the character tonight, it was a pretty tall. It was a tall enough person compared to when they're standing next to Johnny.
I was thinking it's Austin Theory, given that he's doing the he quit storyline. So that was who popped into my head.
This would be a very good introduction though for a heater for Johnny.
That's what I thought.
It would.
Somebody new.
So it could be somebody new, maybe. That's still a little green and let me finish. Green and physically maybe a little impressive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, either a heater like what they're doing with Big Jordan with AJ Styles, or it's somebody with Raw and SmackDown who they ran out of stuff with and they're putting NXT. There's plenty of those.
A lot of people are thinking it's Indy Hartwell.
Who?
Indy Hartwell.
She helped Candice some weeks ago. Yeah, Brass Knucks.
Is Indy Hartwell tall and jacked?
This looked like a guy. I mean, granted, it could have been a guy playing it tonight, and they then have, but I don't know.
Could be like Retribution, how you had the fill-ins for the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, Ghostface wasn't always played by Billy and Stu in the first screen. Sometimes they'll be the stunt actors.
I thought this match was awesome. The only thing I was worried about was Candice's bump at the end, where she took that bump off the ladder to the outside. She looked like she landed with her knees first. And so I hope she's okay, because that was a freaking crazy bump that she took.
Yeah. All right, so that was your NXT tonight. So NXT versus AEW again. I stick with it. I think front to back, I enjoyed NXT a little bit more. Matt?
All right. NXT was better.
Twisted your arm. I'm gonna go with NXT tonight as well.
So there you have it. All right, let's 3 quick headlines. That's what we have.
Let's get a couple of these.
Raj got more.
A couple of things from the chat. Let's see here. Someone's saying that Rock's daughter, Michael LeVirus, for. I think it'd be a little soon for her.
It's a little too early, but I like the thinking.
I thought she's hurt.
Outside the box.
Oh yeah, she is.
I think she's hurt.
Yeah, you're right.
Who's LJ? Has LJ ever asked a question before?
I think so. Yeah, she has.
I've never heard it. I apologize, LJ. I've not seen you yet on here because Raj does not allow me to eat on screen, and I'm not missing my meal.
So that's the question. Random question, why is Matt always hanging out the window? And there you go. Because I refuse to allow the talent to eat on screen.
Yeah, it's unprofessional.
Yeah. And Justin Toner's impressed. He says, "Yay, Matt said NXT was better." All right.
So 3 quick news headlines to touch on. You can read about all this in full on Wrestling Inc. So WrestleMania 37, excuse me, this spring, still officially slated to be in LA, but pretty much all says that's not going to happen. The belief is going to end up back in Tampa in the Raymond James Stadium, as it should have been this year. And with the NFL is playing, and the NFL is having the Super Bowl in the same stadium a month earlier. And Adam Schefter from NFL Insider reports that the plan is to have a 20% capacity at Raymond James Stadium. The capacity is 65,000, so take 20% of that. You're looking at 13 to 15,000. So a lot could be gleaned that unless something drastically changes for the worse or better, that's at least what we could expect for WrestleMania this year if it winds back up in Tampa Bay Bucs Stadium. So, Raj, will you be part of that 15,000? Are you gonna brave the COVID elements?
Hell no. But that 15, that 20 is 25%, right? Is it 20 or 25?
20%.
20%
for the Super Bowl.
And that's an NFL decision. So I think Florida will let them do as many as they want.
Correct.
You got to think WWE is probably not going to stop at 20. I don't know if they'll do a full stadium, but 40, 35, 40.
I was going to predict 50 at 50.
Yeah. So unless something crazy happens, it looks like we're gonna have WrestleMania with fans in a stadium.
Good.
So we'll see how it breaks out. Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer noting that there's been another, we'll call it outbreak, at least the Performance Center as it relates to COVID. No major NXT talents on TV regularly seems to have affected, and we didn't see really any changes that we know of to the matches tonight. Whether or not creative was affected, who knows? But he says as results there were aspects that were changed. We'll have to see if we can that comes to light. My belief, based upon my understanding from some of the previous quote unquote outbreaks that the Performance Centers had, is that second level people that are there or that are extras will have you. Maybe it's one person or two people that are at risk, and all of a sudden you have to do some serious precaution of contact tracing. We'll see how the trickle down effect takes place.
Yeah, it sounded more like it was due to the contact tracing as opposed to people testing positive so far. So people asked to quarantine for 2 weeks due to results that came back from due to contact tracing.
Right. And the final story, a sad one: the wrestling world losing another veteran. Tracy Smothers passed away at the age of 58. Yes, Tracy Smothers passed away. Had been battling. He announced last year was battling lymphoma. He had just had a surgery just recently for a hernia. In fact, 11 days ago. But he passed away, I believe, this morning is what we've understood. And obviously, Wrestling Inc.'s put out their thoughts and prayers and put out a story on Tracy. I got to say, Matt, I'd love to get yours and Raj take. I feel like Tracy Smothers is one of those guys in the last 20 years. You go to any independent promotion, Tracy has still been so active in the independent promotion that he's helped so many guys and girls because he's been so active. At 58 years old, he was still performing, still getting out there. And I think what's really awesome, half unfortunate, but it's a testament to his success. Tracy Smothers' name is so well known in the wrestling business. He works so many places, but obviously the number one place is WWE. He had a cup of coffee in the mid-'90s, and it wasn't even under his name as Tracy Smothers. It was as Freddie Joe Floyd. So the fact that he got over Smoky Mountain, WCW, NWA, WCW, ECW, I think it's a testament to the work that he did, that he got over so well and never got his name in the WWE lights.
Yeah, there's not really to add to that. You hugged it all.
And you hear all the guys today who talk about working with him and how helpful he is and how genuine he was backstage with wrestlers today. And to this day, he's just been like that since he, stopped being a full-time wrestler. So it was just kind of a universal outpour after his passing. So like you said, we send our condolences to his family and friends. It's really sad.
A link is on the story on Wrestling Inc. There is a GoFundMe that has been launched to help with the Smothers medical expenses. Like I said, he just had his hernia surgery 11 days ago. An indie event has also been planned this weekend in Bartonville, Illinois, to raise money, presumably again for Smothers and his family. So anything you might be interested in contributing, you can get those links off of WrestlingInc.com story. So, Raj, anything else?
No, man. I think, it was good night of wrestling. We'll see. This next week is election week. Matt's not going to be able to make a couple of shows. I'm not going to be able to. We'll figure out Friday, but yeah. So for the time being, Sam is getting booked on the weekends again. So I'm going to be doing the Wednesday shows with you guys, and yeah. So that's about it.
All right. Well, that has it. So I don't know when we'll see Matt next. I don't know when I'll see Ryan. I'll try next Monday. We'll try to make it work. It's all crazy, but we'll make it work. It's fun. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Hit subscribe, leave a comment, do all the good stuff. Do some more super chats for Raj's pockets and for the benefit of the podcast. Thanks to Matt. Thanks to Raj. Thanks to all of you. Again, this podcast will be back Friday night after SmackDown, so don't miss it. Make sure you hit subscribe. Have a good night tonight.